Brian Solis is principal at Altimeter Group and is going to share with us a few ideas around the future on our theme of the Internet of Things. Brian Solis?
Bonjour. Good morning, everybody. There was a little hassle back there. I was trying to steal that lock, but it didn't work. Actually, I could see them partnering with Airbnb. That would be a very interesting alliance right out of the gate. So 2 years ago, I was at LeWeb, and I'm very honored to be back because this is actually one of the favorite conferences that I attend. I don't even have to speak there to get value out of it. And 2 years ago, Loic and I, we had this discussion about an idea, the human API, as we called it, where your body would be open to the emergence or the convergence of technology, information, and experiences. And I kind of like how these guys came out and they talked about how it wasn't just about a utility, that the Internet of Things isn't just about connecting devices and information. I guess I just learned it's about connecting unique women, but at the same time, I like the concept of superheroes, as was mentioned earlier. And I like the concept of experiences, because it's this idea or this opportunity where you as a developer, you as an entrepreneur, you as an investor, or you as a business have an opportunity to define what it is that we are going to do as consumers. You're either going to give me a utility to do something better than I could do it before, or you're going to open, literally, unlock the door to new opportunities. So some of you know me as a digital analyst at Altimeter Group. Some of you know me as a blogger and author. Some of you know me as a pseudo-philosopher or sociologist. And today I want to bring all of those things together and talk to you about opportunities around the Internet of Things. Because data is everywhere. Devices are everywhere. I often wonder how many of us are just iterating and creating technologies just because we can. But I would actually like to challenge you today. I'd actually like to challenge you to not just do what it is you think I have a problem to solve for, or to help me do something more easily moving forward. I actually want you to think about how you're going to create and unlock an experience for me to change my behavior. That's the real opportunity. Because otherwise, it's just about data, it's just about information, and it's just about technology. We are building not just a great information network, we are building an incredible human network where people, information, and experiences are coming together. And that's creating an unbelievable amount of data. And everybody's worried about big data. Everybody's talking about big data. But I'm actually more concerned with what are we going to do with it that matters? What are we going to do with it that counts? How are we going to do something differently than we could do before? Because we know that the lack of information is actually linked to the loss of revenue opportunities. We're not even seizing the opportunities that we have today. So Altimeter Group refers to the Internet of Things as the sentient world, where devices, intelligence, data, and computing are coming together, yes. Are networking, yes. But what about what we don't see? You've seen a lot of really interesting devices. The Internet is connecting all of these different devices. The Internet is connecting all of us through social media, social networks, and apps. But so what? What else can we do? Because this is only getting bigger. We're going to see a glut of new apps, new devices, new solutions, but at some point it's just going to be like saying apps, social media, generic labels that don't mean a thing, that don't talk to you, that don't inspire you. A lot of you are here because you are inventing the future of what it is that we are going to experience. And that's why I'm here today, too, because I want to actually learn from you, but at the same time, I want to challenge you. What are we going to do with all of this stuff in a way that matters? And when I think back to the conversations that Loic and I had a couple years ago around the idea of a human API, well, you and I have the opportunity to make technology do something, right? Whether we want to lose weight, whether we want to share with our friends about what we're experiencing or what we're doing in this world. But there's got to be something more, right? There has to be something more. Because we see a lot of devices that allow us to control our surroundings, unlock a door, change the lighting in your room from anywhere in the world, change the temperature in your house while you're not even in the same country. And I think of those as utilities. And they're all great things. I have a Nest in my home. I'm going to install those Philips light bulbs just because I can. But what else can we do? I love this quote because it's not just about controlling things. It's about controlling everything. It's about controlling your surroundings. It's about controlling experiences. The rest, well, it's just technology. By the way, I always seem to get behind this person at the airport. I don't know where they keep all of these devices. But the reality is that we're keeping all of these devices, we're using these devices. These devices put information. The information is therefore what? What do we do with that? This saying that the medium is the message actually talks to me. It actually means more to me in the era of the internet things than ever before. Even more so than what social media meant to me, because we're creating a relationship, not just between you and me, and not just between the devices and us, but what it is that's shared in between them. And it's the interpretation of that data. It's not just giving us that data. It's the interpretation of that data, that information, that allows us to do something different. And I actually think that as developers, as entrepreneurs, as investors, we have that opportunity to define what that is. So some of you are going to create amazing utilities. But I would love for you to develop amazing experiences. Because the thing that connects everything isn't just the internet, it's you and me. And there's this human algorithm that brings about a code that I don't believe enough of us are studying, right? Because if it's one thing I hear over and over and over in these presentations throughout the entire event, it's that people are at the center of all of this. Do you make my life easier? Do you make it easier for me to connect with somebody else? Do you make it easier for me to do something that I couldn't do before? But the human algorithm, to me, is so inspirational. Because I want you to give me something that I didn't know I want. You don't just need to solve my problems. I don't need to know about how many different apps I can get to tell me what traffic is ahead. But I would love for you to know that when I sit in my car, you know where I'm going, and you know how to get me there. You know what temperature I like, but more importantly, you can communicate out to whoever I'm going to be, where I'm at, without me even having to think about it. And it's that idea, it's that dream, it's that vision that I actually want to see more of. That human algorithm is something that you can actually program when you think about what it is you want people to do. When you think about behavior, it's that vision that takes you beyond just development. It takes you beyond just a Kickstarter to fund that idea. It's about creating a better idea in the first place. Because yes, the internet is open. Yes, devices are there for you to create. Apps are there for you to create. But the human algorithm is that one platform that is open source that we haven't even tapped yet. It's you and me and what's possible. You know, I think about Apple. Everybody talks about Apple. But one of the things that they don't necessarily talk about, especially when they refer to Steve Jobs and how brilliant he was as a visionary and as a leader, was the fact that I think Steve Jobs was by far one of the best UX designers in the world. Because he actually wanted to create an experience. He knew what you wanted before you knew you wanted it. And sometimes he failed, but often he succeeded. And he was always able to take ideas and make them better. And I believe he had cracked the code for the human algorithm. Because he just thought differently, right? Not only was that an ad campaign for Apple, but it was just a philosophy. And it's that philosophy that I actually believe that we could use more of in technology. We could use it more in the world. But the idea is that we're developing experiences that tie together all of this information that we're throwing everywhere. My phone knows where I am. It knows who I call. My house knows what temperature I prefer and when, and it's auto-setting all the time. But all of these digital breadcrumbs are powerful. It's an opportunity for us to actually not just pick them up and bring them together, but to do something a bit better. I remember when refrigerators were coming out that could connect to the internet. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. The killer app for that was that you could get recipes. But then you had an iPad for that. But how about a refrigerator that knows when you're running out of milk or when you're running out of certain food? And how about a time when that Internet of Things then connects you to a store to have that automatically delivered or to put it into your shopping cart so you don't have to think about it, right? That's a utility, and that's pretty cool. And it's connecting disparate experiences around common behavior and helping us evolve that behavior to make it more simple. But I don't think that's good enough. And now you have technology that's tracking us to make sure we're healthy, connecting us to our doctors to make sure that if anything is wrong, if anything is out of the norm, that they can help us in real time. And I think this is wonderful. But I still think it's just the beginning. Fitbit, that seems to be the darling at LeWeb, helps you think about living a healthier lifestyle. Makes you think about how many steps you take, how many stairs you've climbed. And I think that's wonderful because it ties back to that idea of the superhero or gaining confidence, making you feel better as a human being. But at the same time, the Internet of Things does something else, right? With Fitbit or Nike Fuel, it connects you to other people who also encourage you to do something great. And if I were thinking about UX in this case, it wouldn't just be the device and what it helps you do. I would be thinking about the experience of how it brings you closer to your friends and your family. That you're designing not just a product, not just a technology to bring things together, but you're designing an experience that actually brings people together for the sole purpose of making you a better human being, to make you healthier, to get support, to bring you closer to your network. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if that was in their business plan, but they bring people together around lifestyle just because of a device that's connected to the internet. So these life hacks, if you will, are now just becoming part of life. And as designers and as investors, we need to look at those opportunities to create ways to change our life. Many of you have seen this, but I want to share it with you because I want to make a point about it. Because we are getting rewired with all of this new technology that we embrace. But who's the architect behind that? Who's changing how we're wired? I don't know if that we even think about that when we're designing new technologies, but I'd love for you to think about it. I want to inspire you to think about that because somebody's got to be the architect. Somebody's got to think through about these experiences and not just be surprised when I come up with a different way to use your product. And so if you've seen this one-year-old baby use an iPad and then try to use a magazine, it's funny. I laugh because this is the world she knows. She knows how to swipe and pinch and zoom. But isn't it hilarious that Apple trademarked the page turn? Isn't it hilarious that in a world of innovation, that you have skeuomorphism as the leading design principle, where she didn't even have to learn what a page turn was because she's probably never going to read a magazine when she gets older. So why not take that opportunity to change the experience? It was this last line that inspired me around the idea of experience architecture, that Steve Jobs had coded a part of her OS. And it brought to life for me all over again the idea of a human API, where you're designing an experience to change behavior, not just as a utility. So what does this information, what do these devices tell us about ourselves and those around us? How does it bring us together? How can they better communicate to improve how we communicate and how we adapt? How does it bring us together around a purpose? How does it trigger outcomes or aspirations? These are things to think about as you're developing your next product, as you're investing in the next company, as you're thinking about your next business strategy. But how does it enable us to optimize the lives of our users and customers? And that's the part that I'm inspired by. If you think about the idea of experience architecture, it's just not helping you solve problems. That's easy. Help me do something that I didn't even know was possible. The nice thing about experience architecture, it's all brand new. It's a blank canvas. It's something that you get to decide. It's your vision, it's your purpose that actually gets us to align behind you, not just because the device is cool. Anybody could do that. Then you're just another product at CES in Las Vegas in January. But if you made it an experience, a life hack, something that helped me become what I wanted to be, or helped me do something that I couldn't do before, it's sort of this idea of not just user interface design and not just UX, but it's the marriage of both to bring together a different experience, an experience that didn't exist before. It's the idea that we are creating human interface designs, human interface solutions, experiences in general that trigger the kind of brain patterns, the types of feelings, the type of emotions, the type of aspirations because of your designs, to stimulate new behavior, to cause new trends, to force everybody else to follow you. The idea of a human API and human interface design to bring together experiences is pretty powerful. So how do you think about your next design, your next solution, your next investment when it's more than just a product? When you're investing in somebody because of their vision, their ability to see the world, their ability to predict what it is you want before you know what it is you want. I actually believe that we need to start thinking about how to filter out the noise. There's a lot of noise. Even in the Internet of Things, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of Me Too products. There's a lot of products that are features. But there isn't enough innovation. There isn't enough vision. There isn't enough processing of the data to make better guesses or predictions about what it is that we could do or what we need to do. And I actually believe that if you could develop or design within all of these experiences social hooks that get people talking, like Fitbit, that get people together around a purpose, something amazing, then you actually get people to not just buy your product, they're actually buying a lifestyle. And you're enabling that lifestyle. I think that people will benefit from it, but you'll benefit from it as well, because at the end of the day, you're helping, you're enabling, you're inspiring. And I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, you're going to hear more today. You've heard a lot over the last 2 days. But I think about Steve Jobs, when I think about him as an experience architect, and I think about what it was that he set out to do, and I think about what it is that you're trying to do, I think what it is that I'm trying to do even as a consumer. And it comes down to this. Life is about creating and living experiences that are worth sharing. It's not just about the internet. It's not just about the devices that connect to the internet or the devices that talk to other devices. It's also about how people factor in to the Internet of Things and how technology, data, and information bring people together to do something that they couldn't do before, to see something that they couldn't see before. And that's where it comes down to you. It comes down to you as the experience architect, because you're going to help me change my behavior. You're going to help me find new aspirations, and you're going to help me live a better lifestyle, all because of your vision. And that's pretty powerful. So before I leave today, just remember that you're not just a developer, you're not just an entrepreneur, you're not just developing products, services, solutions. I'd love to see you as an experience architect to change the way that I live my life. Thank you so much.